What pointless superhero powers would you have if you could have any?
That's a brilliant, brilliant discussion.
You could have the power of teleportation, but you couldn't decide where you teleport to. Mine was, I can hear thoughts, but not in a language I can understand.
So you're a comedian, for those that don't know. You're a little bit of a superstar. Been on the telly a few times.
Been on the TV a few times.
Celebrity mastermind.
That celebrity mastermind.
Let's find out about that.
Oh my, I thought this would be hilarious. In the mastermind chair, all of your knowledge about everything just flies out. I thought, I've got this. This is an easy subject. And then it's just me. You watch it back. It's me going, pass. 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 It is, I know so little, apparently.
I want to know what you were like as a kid.
I was an asshole. Do you remember being a kid and having your parents say no to you for something? And you're like, when I'm a parent, I'm going to say yes to everything. At that time, that seemed like solid advice you've given to yourself until you have kids. And then you realise what an asshole you were. On the last day when I was on stage, my heart just stopped pumping oxygenated blood and I went into heart failure on stage. Literally the morning after, put into intensive care.
Didn't you have a stroke as well?
Yeah. Yeah, I've nearly died a lot. The stroke, it felt like learning to speak again, which was really weird. You then become appreciative of how important words are.
You stay in that space of I'm grateful to be able to use my voice.
Yeah. Like, it is such a privilege.
I'm not going to do a big introduction because that's just silly.
I never do big introductions. I'm so bad at them.
Well, also, it's just that I've got to talk for 5 minutes to the camera going, this guy, and actually it's about you. Just let you talk. Actually, that will probably get kept in now. I'm going to take you back to as early as you can remember. Because I want to know what you were like as a kid.
I was an asshole.
Right, that's why I want to...
Depending on which one of my sisters you ask.
How many have you got?
5.
We may as well just roll here.
Yeah. 5
I was an arsehole.
I'm the youngest of 6 kids.
You're the youngest?
Yeah, and there's 16 years between me and my eldest sister. And here's something that was really interesting to me. I've never appreciated that age gap until my little boy, when he turned 1, my niece turned 17. And I saw my niece holding my 1-year-old, and it literally just the penny dropped. And I was like, that was my sister and me.
Yeah.
And to see that physical age difference.
Yeah.
And I realized how much my sister actually had to do for us at an age where she was still growing.
So I won't ask how old she is now because that's rude, but she'll be, she would have been, she could have been your mum.
Yeah.
And did she have to kind of take that role on?
Yeah. But, and again, I've only realized as I've got older, and I think about it a lot more, and I see my kids getting older, that each of us, me and my sisters, all had a very different upbringing.
Yeah.
And I started writing some comedy about it because I was looking at my kids, and Eli's got the best parents, because even though they've all got the same parents, Eli's got the best version of those parents, because Noah's parents didn't have a fucking clue what they were doing. He was the first one.
Yeah.
Like, we were like, oh, he fell down the stairs. Literally, do you know, with Noah, he could like cough too hard, and I'm like, let's go to the hospital.
I remember that feeling.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then with Chloe in the middle, it's like you put it back all the way because you've seen the worst, and now you're like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
Chloe's running with a knife. Yeah, you're fine.
Typical middle child, actually.
Yeah. And then you get to the third one, and now you're more rounded as a parent now.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. So I always say that he's got the best parents. Then I looked at my sisters and realised that all of us had very, very different upbringings. It's
what Gabor Mate says, actually. I don't know if you watch a lot of him. He does a lot of work around trauma, ADHD and everything else. And he will say, you parents that say we've parented our kids all the same, no, it's not true. You don't.
No, you don't. I mean, even before Eli, I remember people asking me, because I had one boy, one girl, and they'd like, do you treat them the same? And I'm like, no. And they were like, "Oh, well, you should treat them the same just because they're a boy or a girl." I was like,
can't.
I went, "That's not why I treat them differently. I treat them differently because they are different people."
Yes.
And I don't treat anyone the same. They could
No.
be two boys. I still treat them very
Yeah.
differently.
Well, like you say, you're different because you know more.
Yeah.
And because, well, life happens in between as well. So even if it's just, which we'll get onto later, an illness or something like that,
Yeah.
that changes you as a person.
Yeah.
So all of those things affect how you parent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's, and that's the thing. Even looking back to how do you remember being a kid and having your parents say no to you for something, and you're like, "Do you know what? When I'm a parent, I'm going to say yes to everything." And then at that time, that seems like solid advice you've given to yourself until you have kids, and then you realise what an asshole you were. All the lies that I thought my parents didn't know, they knew.
What were your lies?
Smoking.
Oh, big one.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest.
Yeah.
I remember smoke. I remember standing, like, sort of hanging out of my window in the morning to have a cigarette, and then thinking they can't smell it because I smoked out the window. And it was only when I quit smoking like 5 years ago, and it must have been maybe a year afterwards when the cravings had pretty much not gone, but you live with them.
Yeah.
And I remember someone walking past me who had clearly smoked God knows when, but I just had the stench of it.
The stale bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I realised, yeah, my mum knew.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'd come back spraying after shave it. It's like, do you remember when you could smoke in pubs and you would come home?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So just coming back from Dubai, there's places you can still smoke indoors.
Really?
Yeah. So, well, not so much indoors.
But in a separate section.
Yeah, but it's still very much in the club.
Yeah.
And wake up in the morning smelling your clothes going, they reek.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. And I literally, every time I do that, I realise, yeah, my mum knew.
She must have. But she didn't say that she knew.
No.
Why? Because she couldn't be bothered.
I don't know.
Sixth kid.
Because there was no way she didn't know.
Yeah. I suppose you just have to pick your battles.
Or maybe it's a denial point that you don't want to accept that your child's smoking.
Yeah.
I was an idiot for smoking as well. I had asthma, like really bad asthma.
What made you start then?
Peer pressure.
Yeah. You were peer pressured.
Yeah.
I mean, for those that are listening and not watching this, you're about the size of a house.
Well, back then, I remember I was 15.
Right.
And I just remember I really wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
To the local kids. And that was another thing that I've thought lots about when I was a kid. I never really felt that I fit in.
Yeah.
So I've got lots of different pockets of friends.
Mm-hmm. Social butterfly.
Yeah. Because you were sort of always looking for that group that you fit in with.
Yeah.
And it turns out it was my school friends. Like, there's maybe 8 of us that are still the same idiots that we were when we were 12. And we're all still
Men.
Yeah. But even more so. Like, I remember I saw this clip on socials and it said, for £1 million, would you upload your best friend's chat group on WhatsApp for £1 million?
Not.
I was like, I'll show you now. And I did a screen grab of our WhatsApp group because it's all Guinness game, playing the Guinness game. Look what I've just bought, a Guinness game. One of my friends bought a bidet.
You're such a loser.
Yeah, massively. I was like, I don't know what you think goes on in these. One of them was a 2-day discussion whether or not we were going to eat on our next. And I say boys' night out. We go for meals.
Oh, that's quite cute.
Yeah, it's.
Do you discuss life?
Yeah.
Is it Big Bang Theory with you and your friends?
It's everything. Everything gets discussed. But then I remember there was one, this was sort of around Brexit, where we've gone out for a meal and half the meal was a very, not heated actually, it was just a debate on Brexit because the table was split. between, actually it was split 3 ways, between people that were for it, people that were against it, and then me who didn't know enough about it to make a decision. So we were having this very spirited debate, and it went from that to discussing what superhero powers we'd have, but they're not allowed to be useful. What pointless superhero powers would you have if you could have any?
That's a brilliant, brilliant discussion.
Yeah.
Forget about the politics.
Yeah.
That one, I'm in.
Yeah. So it was like one of them was you could have the power of teleportation, but you couldn't decide where you teleport to.
What was yours? Do you remember?
Oh my God, what was mine? Oh, mine was I can hear thoughts, but not in a language I can understand. Like, that's just annoying.
Isn't that like when women talk to men? Did you ever see My Wife and Kids?
Yes.
Do you remember the episode where Jay is talking to Michael?
Yes.
And it's in Chinese?
Yeah.
It's that.
That's basically it. I
Yeah.
could hear people's thoughts. I could read minds, but I wouldn't be able to understand what I was hearing.
Amazing. That's clever.
That's our conversations.
Brilliant. I already want to be in that group.
Yeah.
I'm just going to infiltrate. Like, get her out.
we another one of our conversations we had, if you're in so we took a standard size primary school classroom, and every 15 seconds, 5 8-year-olds come in to fight you. How long do you think you could last? These are, and we will sit there debating what's the best way to fight an 8-year-old.
Wow. You are mad.
Yeah.
That's it. Podcast over. He's mad.
There's so boys have the dumbest conversations.
Yeah, but did you see when you said to me about friends' WhatsApp groups?
Yeah.
I was like, not a chance. You've said we do a little bit of discussing what we're going to eat.
Yeah.
We decide what terrible superhero power we're going to have.
Yeah.
And play games.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
So proper geek stuff.
Yeah.
I like that though. That's pretty cool.
It's the best.
And actually, I suppose it really helps in your job now because you're a little bit of a superstar, some would say. Been on the telly a few times.
Been on the TV a few times, just once or twice.
Just only on Mastermind, Celebrity Mastermind. Not
that Celebrity Mastermind.
I mean, let's find out about that.
Oh my! Well,
what was your subject?
My subject was Twilight. The Twilight Saga.
You are such a geek.
What I should have said though, the Twilight Saga, the films. We did the books, which I have read. But there's a lot more information in the books than there are in the film. And I thought this would be hilarious. I didn't realise how serious a program Mastermind is.
Yeah.
And it really threw me because I've never been on Mastermind. I thought there is an audience there. There's not.
Oh.
It is just 4 of you in the Mastermind chair.
Who are you on with?
Oh, do you know what? I'm terrible with names. I couldn't tell you now.
Oh, God.
But there was 4 of us, and it was just so quiet and so serious that every intrusive thought in my brain was right. I'm sat there in pitch silence, and my brain's going, "Fart right now, do it." And now all I can think about is fart. So I'm trying not to laugh. But it is just such a serious environment that when you sit down in the Mastermind chair, all of your knowledge about everything just flies out. I thought, I've got this. This is an easy subject. And then it's just me. You watch it back. It's me going, pass, 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 pass. It is, I know so little, apparently. So,
about your chosen subject.
But when it came to do the general knowledge round, the first couple I got right, and then pass, pass. And what really, really annoyed me is when everyone else had their turn on the general knowledge, I knew all of their answers.
Oh, because you weren't in the seat.
Yeah.
So it's like it takes... So that's a really useless superpower.
Yeah.
You know a lot, but you're on the seat and
Can't do anything about it. Can't do anything about it.
That's your new one.
That'll be my new superpower.
But yeah, so you're a comedian for those that don't know, which
Yes.
I'd be surprised if anyone listening, because you're like world famous.
Oh, it's. I forget that people watch me on TV.
I know. I mean,
Like,
it must
so
be very strange.
I when I get stopped in the street, not just by the police. when I get stopped and they're like, "Oh, I've seen you on whichever show," and they'll ask for a picture, like I do forget that, and it is a really nice feeling of how much it means to other people.
Yeah.
Which is what kind of why we do it as well. You get I think you're giving people something really quite special.
You are, yeah. Making people laugh.
Yeah.
That's the best thing you can do.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
I absolutely love it.
Well, I don't make people laugh. I just laugh at people.
I got asked, have I ever had to go on stage in a bad mood and fake it, if you like? And I was like, no, that's actually the stages where I go to when I am in a bad mood. That's where I go to get rid of it.
Oh.
Because that's my happy place.
So that's it. So yes, for those that don't know, you stand-up comic, very funny, very funny. I know you now, and I still see your clips come up and laugh out loud. Never has lol been truer. I do. You are really funny. I really love what you do. But it's you're so good at it, and weirdly, you were just for those that haven't heard this before, you were a West End kind of guy.
I did West End theatre.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the jobs that I've done to my recollection. I trained in musical theatre.
Yeah.
That's what I studied at college.
Yeah.
I was a bouncer.
Yes.
For many years.
Which is, I mean, we can see that.
It was
the West End stuff is less. I can't quite place that.
I've done many different types of sales jobs.
Yeah. I bet you're brilliant at sales.
Well, sales, I think everything is sales.
Yeah.
And with, when I was a kid, I did, I worked for Dixon's, the Link Group, when we sold mobile phones.
Oh, yeah.
I worked there. And then I worked for a company called Granton years ago when I was like 18. And they used to sell loyalty cards. And this, I think, was the best training that I ever did for learning how to be with people.
Yeah.
Because it was commission only. And we had literally travelled the country. So it would be like your local takeaway would want to drum more business. So we'd go into that area and sell loyalty cards.
Oh, wow.
£15 loyalty cards, door to door.
You had to go door to door.
And it was commission only. And I've been all over the country knocking on people's doors to sell random things. And
you are brave.
Right? It was.
I can't think of anything worse.
Sometimes it was harrowing because you could travel somewhere and some people would not sell anything. You've made no money. You've literally just lost money for that day.
Yeah.
So not everyone could last in that job.
No.
But to make money, it was really good because you learn about dealing with people, and it stuff like that helps with comedy because I'm knocking on the door. I don't know who's behind it. And the moment they open the door, you have to read the situation and go, what is the best way to sell to this person? Because here's the thing with sales. Nobody likes being sold to,
no,
but we
you're
all
right.
love buying stuff.
Yes.
But none of us like being sold to.
No.
So it was flipping the reason and going, I'm not going to sell to you. I'm going to give you a reason to buy.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to get someone to buy something, people will buy if we're relaxed and we're in a good mood. What puts you in a good mood? Laughing.
Yeah. So
you could literally open up with a joke, with anything, just to sort of set them back and then tell them the real reason why you're there.
So what? So this could be anything you'd sell?
Yeah, it's mostly loyalty cards for gyms, restaurants.
It's not a bad thing to sell. I suppose it's better than a Hoover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, it was stuff. The thing is, on paper, you knew that there was a value to the person.
Yeah.
So for example, the membership card for a takeaway would cost you £15.
Yeah.
But the first time you use it, you would get a 50% discount up to £40.
Got
So
ya.
as long as you use it once,
Yeah.
you've saved your money.
Yeah.
So logically,
They've got nothing to lose.
yeah, but people don't want to be sold to,
I am that
especially
person.
on their doorstep.
Yeah, I'm that person. I'm like, I don't even open the door, I open the window.
I don't even do that. I look at my phone, I've got a Ring doorbell purely for that, just so I can pretend to not be in.
Hide.
Yeah. And I'm not actually home. Like, we can see you and hear you. I'm not there.
You're in the window looking
Yeah.
at us. No, that's not me.
That's not me.
Brilliant. Even though you've done the job.
Yeah, but it makes you, so like when I go to do stand up, I never have my set prepared before the show.
You just go in organically.
I will go in organically. I will walk. So I'll always get to the show early so I can see and hear the people.
Yes.
And then you can kind of gauge where they are. And then when I'm watching other comics that are on before me, because I remember once I had this bit, I don't even remember the bit now, but I had this bit and I was very new to comedy, and the act that went on before me basically did the same bit. It was the same topic, very, very similar bit. And I thought, I can't go on there now and just, because to the audience, that's the same joke.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah.
So at that point, I realised that when it comes to comedy, I think, and it's the same advice I give to any comedian that asks me,
Yeah.
have something that only you can say.
Yes.
Then it doesn't matter where you are on the bill.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be different.
Yeah.
So I'll always get there. But if there's a comic that does loads of kid stuff beforehand, then I won't do my kid material.
Are you rare in that sense that you actually do study the room? Do a lot of people just...
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
A lot of the acts that I work with, that I enjoy working with, I know they do. So that's kind of a habit that I picked up from watching what other people do successfully.
Yes. Because you've supported a lot of people as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you've obviously watched lots of people that would be considered at that time ahead of you.
Yeah.
So then you're getting that experience and wisdom. I suppose it's just constant learning when you're performing on your own.
I don't think you can ever not learn.
Yeah.
Because it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
And I think the moment you stop learning, you're going to be on a bit of a downfall now.
Well, last time I saw you, which was to do your podcast, Secrets and Sabotage. Down. We spoke afterwards and I said, oh my God, you'd be so good in arenas. And you went, no, that's not for me. I wouldn't be good in arenas. And I was like, you absolutely would be brilliant in arenas.
I've played arenas. I could do an arena.
Yeah, but you don't feel like you want to.
No, not
Why?
really. I mean, arena's great for the sake of I've played an arena.
Yeah.
For the prestige of playing an arena.
Yeah.
But I really love theatres.
Of course, because of the whole beginnings of what you did publicly, I suppose.
So a few weeks ago, I played the Palladium.
Yeah.
I was on with Jason Manford.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it was, I think, the best venue I've ever played.
Oh, lovely.
I absolutely, and it felt like being at home.
What is it about theatre for you?
Lots of things. It's the childhood memory for one, watching musicals growing up.
Yeah.
And then getting to go and see these musicals in the theatre and going, I'd love to be up there.
Oh.
And then getting the opportunity to do musical theatre. It's the escape. And it's like, so when I used to, I taught dance for years. I was a dance teacher.
I know.
I taught at Pineapple Studios for about 10 years. And in that, the time that the song is on, there's nothing outside of it.
No.
It was the closest I could ever be to experiencing actual freedom. Because in that moment, nothing else matters. There are no issues outside of that song, out of that music, out of that moment. There's just the move that you're doing right now. Mm. And the only limit you've got is what you're going to put into it.
So just to go back, because I'm fascinated by this, because I do love theatre and I love musical theatre, but there is such a difference in the way that you enunciate, in the way you hold yourself, in the way you breathe, in the way you move to any other forum.
Yes.
And for you to be watching it thinking, I'd love to be up there, what is it about the very distinct style of musical theatre that pulls you in?
The stories, the dance, the music as well. The songs are always great.
Where did this start for you though? Because it's literally a passion. I can see that. So why do you think it got to you more than it would to say others?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of it was the music.
But again, I mean, I get it to a point, but some of it's a bit twee. You know what I mean?
Oh, God, yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm interested in why that. Like, what? Obviously, I loved Mary Poppins. It goes without saying, right? Especially the scene with her and Dick Van Dyke, where it's the cartoon bit behind and the animated bit. And that was probably, other than The Wizard of Oz, that was probably my favourite as a kid. And then Grease and all the others.
Yeah.
But it just, because it's so twee and so, I don't know, a little bit out there.
Yeah.
What was it that drew you in? Because, it's not something that you think, let me be clear. You don't think of little boys sitting there enjoying. I mean, this is just the way we are as a society.
So this is, well, I say interesting. It's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Growing up with 5 sisters.
Yeah.
So kids don't know gender roles.
No.
You know what is in front of you.
Yes.
That's it. So as an example, I wear my watch on my right hand.
Mm-hmm.
When we were kids, and I don't know where this came from, I don't know the validity in it or not, but when we were kids, we were told that boys wear their watch on their left hand and girls wear their watch on their right hand.
I have heard that. I don't know
I've
where
got
it's
no
from.
idea where it came from because it's a dumb thing because it's just the time.
Yeah.
I never knew that. All I knew was my sisters wore their watch on their right hand.
Oh.
So that's where you wear your watch because that was my influence.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I wear it on my left.
I've no idea where it comes from.
Yeah.
But my sisters were my influence in everything because that's all I knew.
Yes.
And there were so many of them different ages. Like I grew up wanting to be like my sisters.
Oh.
So a lot of the music choices they like, I like. And it got varied outside of that, but that's what they would be watching.
Yeah.
So that's what I would be watching. And also you think back then we didn't have the choice of, well, if you're watching that, I'll go upstairs and watch something else.
Yeah.
What was on that TV was communal and you watched it whether you wanted to or not.
Yeah.
Otherwise you watched nothing. So that was really a lot of the stuff that they would watch. So we used to watch Sister Act religiously.
Amazing
all
film.
the time.
Did you see Beverly Knight in Sister Act?
I didn't see it in
what
town.
a shame I didn't know.
No, but I've been told that she was really good.
Outstanding, yeah.
But those were my influences. Were whatever was on TV at the time, and I think back then it was very fashion. Musicals were fashionable. That was the Mary Poppins era.
Yeah.
Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Yes.
That Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, great.
Those are the films that were coming on, and they were funny as well.
Yeah, they were funny.
Like I was a big fan of Steve Martin and Rick Moranis. So I loved watching those because they were in it.
Yeah.
And then even down to the other people, Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
So
what a ledge.
Watching him do Charlie and the Chocolate Factory
brilliant.
was brilliant.
Yeah.
So I kind of just fell into it. It was what was on, and it just caught me. I don't even know if I could really articulate why. It was just something innate in it that made me go, I really, really like this.
And were you trying to escape? Because you talk about escapism.
Oh, God, yeah. All the time.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. And I never really sort of thought about it a lot until, again, because when we do comedy, I don't make anything up.
No, they're your stories.
They're my stories. There's something else about these stories as well, which I now find really funny and hard at times. But because I don't make things up, you have to really know yourself and know why it's funny.
Yeah.
So sometimes I start writing something and then I go, oh, where did that come from? And I'll start thinking about it more.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, I'm crying on my sofa, wondering why no one hugged me on my 9th birthday. And it becomes like, because you have to deal with the thing to make the thing then become funny.
So it is cathartic, for
Really
sure,
cathartic.
isn't it?
Yeah. And it could be the smallest thing. It could be, we'll have a conversation today, and I guarantee something from today will end up in a stand-up piece at some point. Because it will trigger a thought.
Yeah.
And then that thought becomes, other people have had that thought.
Yeah.
And because the thing with comedy, I don't think you laugh at the joke a lot of the time. I think you laugh at what the joke reminds you of.
It's so true. It's so true. I saw a clip of, I can never remember her name, Sarah, blonde hair. She's always got red lipstick on.
Pasco?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've got ADHD. She was obviously diagnosed with ADHD, and I'm a therapist as well. So bear that in mind when I tell you this bit. And the joke is about she's found out she's got ADHD because her friend told her she had ADHD.
Yes,
Who's also just been And it's so true. The minute you get diagnosed with ADHD, you're just diagnosing everybody.
Yeah.
But because of my job, you can imagine the amount of people I actually see that are on the neurodiverse scale. So I'm like, you've got within seconds.
Yeah.
And she talks about it being a pyramid scheme. And it made me laugh so much because I do it all the time. I just got a bit more validity because of my job.
Yes.
And then I passed them upstairs to the assessor who actually confirms what I already said. But even if I wasn't doing this job, I would definitely do that. And that's why I laughed, because it's absolutely true.
That's what makes you laugh at it. It's what the thought reminds you of.
Yeah.
And so even when I do a lot of stuff in parenting, I've said some horrible stuff about my kids.
FYI.
Yeah. And you see it in people's eyes when they're laughing, and it's like they're happy because some parents, I reckon, at any point, every parent has looked at their child and thought, you're a dick.
I don't know why I laugh so much then.
Right. I really do think every parent's done that.
Yeah.
But then for a lot of parents, there's this guilt that comes with it, because you go, I shouldn't be calling my child a dick. Like, I'm the parent, I'm meant to love this child. And they start thinking that they're a bad parent for thinking negatively of their child.
What if you don't think you're a bad parent? That's more worrying.
I think you're normal then.
Yeah.
But there are some, I remember there was a friend of mine who was reading this book on motherhood, and started to, there was something in the book that she wasn't doing, and she started to feel really guilty that she wasn't doing it. And I was like, stop reading the books.
Yeah.
Like, stop reading the books. Just because you're not doing it doesn't mean you're a bad parent.
Well, that's life now with socials as well, isn't it? Every time you see someone do something, you think, oh my God, my life is shit. Even though you might be a multi-millionaire with 10 husbands.
I remember my nephew put up this post purely because it said, share if you care. Because then the thought process is, if you don't share, you don't care. Which is dumb. But that's how people will get you to share stuff.
But don't forget, in our day, you had to do that with an actual letter, chain letters. They just do it quickly now. We actually put effort in.
God, the amount of effort that it took. Do you know, when we look at cheating, I realise now, like academically, was actually probably just as hard as revising.
Yeah.
Cheating's easy now, just copy and paste it.
Yeah.
But to cheat on someone, I actually had to write out the whole essay and read their one and understand it and put it in my writing. I was like, I was just learning.
That's so true. That's so true.
Cheating was much harder back then.
So you found that basically most people in life think they're a piece of shit, and that's what you hone in on.
Oh, we all do. We all judge ourselves. And it's letting them... I think it's really fun to let people know that it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to think these things. You're normal to think these things. Kids are dicks.
They are dicks. And it's okay, because we were too.
Yeah.
And so let's all just celebrate being a dick.
Yeah. Now, I think so I find it easier to manage my kids because I know that I've done that as well.
Yeah.
My one of my neighbours, well, it's I say neighbour, they live down the quite far down the road and around the corner.
Down the road in another town.
Sent me a video when I was in Dubai from their Ring doorbell. And the message, first of all, was like, we thought something was wrong with Noah, but you need to see this. And basically, Noah was playing this generation's version of Knockdown Ginger.
I don't even know what that is.
Well, you knock on the door and run away.
I know that bit. I just don't know this generation.
I don't know what they call it now.
Being a dick.
Yeah, that's what I call it. And so when she saw him come up on the Ring doorbell, because she wasn't even in, she thought, oh, is he okay? Because I was like, he knows that she lives there because we walk past there all the time. Like, you've seen her kids. Like, you know that, but it's her mother's place. And it was Noah on his scooter with his friend, rung the doorbell, and then just scooted off. And I watched this clip, and I was like, he is a dick, but I know that I've done the exact same thing, but we didn't have scooters. We had to run.
Yeah.
And so when I came to speak to him about it, I wasn't there to have a go at him. My only thought was, I'm going to ask him about it. If he lies to me, then we have an issue.
Yes.
But if he tells me what's going on,
it's cool.
Then we'll have a conversation about it. And I asked him, I was like, what were you and your friend doing the other day? And he told me everything.
Aww.
And I was like, right, because watch this. And I showed him the clip. And he's sitting there giggling, and I'm trying not to laugh at this point because it is a really funny clip. And I was like, dude, you're going to play this game. I'm just happy that he's being normal.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point.
I'm really happy that he is just being normal, and he's being normal safely. Like there, I was like, make sure if you're going to do it, right, for one, get away quickly because you don't know who's in that house.
Yes.
I was like, to make sure you get, and also we've got the same doorbell, dude. Like, have a look. Because here's the thing, where we live, I grew up there. Everyone knows me.
Yeah.
And I said to him, which means everyone knows you.
Yeah.
So you doing stuff, I'm going to find out about it. So have a think of what you want me to find out about, because I will find out about all of it. I'm like, just make sure you've got your wits about you. Just make sure you're being safe.
That's the best thing you can do. I always said this to my daughter. I don't mind what you get up to, just tell the truth.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna do stuff that I don't want you to do.
Yeah.
Which actually, because I've ingrained that in her, there's very little that she's done that I've not wanted her to do, because it's almost like there's nothing she could do to upset me as long as she says the truth.
My niece, my eldest niece, she I used to have this thing with her, my eldest niece, and I filter it down to my kids as well. If you tell me straight up, I'll never be angry with you. Whatever it is, I will never be angry with you. That's my promise. If I have to find out on my own, I'm going to be fucking furious.
Yeah, because that's effort.
Yeah. Just tell me.
Yeah.
Don't try and hide it. Because part of it, there's a lot of people have a real big problem with accepting blame.
Yeah.
And I think that could be quite a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And there'll be times even at home when I'll say to kids, did you leave this sock down here? Or whatever it is. Did you leave this down here? And they go, yes, because blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, right, just stop. The why doesn't matter.
Yeah, just did you or not.
I'm not angry at you. Because I know if you ask me a question, I'll give you that answer.
Yeah.
And not half the time it's very much a yes or no.
Yeah.
And there are people that get really annoyed at me because they're waiting for me to elaborate. But I'm like, you asked a closed question.
Yeah. Did you? Yes, I did.
Yeah, you did. All right, then take it upstairs. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think people can make it a bigger deal than it is for reason being they don't want to be like they're the ones that they've done anything wrong, or they're trying to justify their action.
It's a very interesting point, actually, because I think that's innate. Because obviously you could say and I did say to my daughter once, and it was I said, just don't lie, and then something happened with her overplucking her eyebrows or something, and I must have said, did you overpluck your eyebrows? And she was like, no. And I thought, well, you did. I can see you did, But it's that innate response of, I don't want you to think that I'm stupid, or I don't want you to think that. So people over explain. And actually one of the most freeing things you can do is just go, do you know what? I'm a bit of a dick sometimes. I did do that. I'm really sorry. But it's almost really hard to do that, because there is, I guess, in most of us, a sense of, but we might be rejected or looked at differently, and we don't want to be. Yeah. But that, I don't know if that's learned, because I mean, obviously your kids have been told, just don't matter as long as you tell the truth. I think it is learned, and it's because I'm saying that. I don't know what teachers are saying. I don't know what other adults are saying. That is true, yeah. So they might know that they can do that with me. Even their own friends. They might be going, well, we don't like you then. Yeah. Because, of course, kids are idiots. So, yeah. And the smallest things can set a kid off and go, oh, we're not going to be friends anymore. Yeah. So they can have that relationship with me, but I'm a very small part of their life. True, yeah. Which is really quite sad, isn't it? When
you
you think about it.
You think of the time that you spend with your child in comparison to the time they spend in the world.
Yeah.
You are quite a small part of their life.
Which is very handy to remember because they're gifted to us. We don't own them.
Yeah.
And that's a really important point that most people forget. You don't own your kids. They are gifted.
Yeah.
And you have to make the most of it. It doesn't mean that you can always spend time, because that's the one thing that most of us don't have is a lot of time. So, but it's how you spend the time you do have. The conversations are so important.
I think time is the most important thing you can give your child.
Yeah, it is. And that's difficult for a lot of people, especially now.
Yeah.
Because I think the way the economy is and the way people can't afford to live, everyone's working more.
Yeah.
And then because technology is there to entertain children, it's like, well, we need to work more because we don't want to have to go to the food bank this week. You've got your phone or your tablet, so you'll be okay. And we're starting to see, and this is the other point about comedy actually, we're starting to see the separation of communities and society because everyone's looking down at a phone or a tablet or a laptop while people are working really, really hard to pay for stuff, but they're not actually getting the benefit of time.
The ecosystem has changed as well.
Yeah.
So I remember I drove past my my childhood home the other day, and I grew up on a main street in North London, and I remember as a kid we had 3 newsagents, we had a butcher, we had a fishmonger, we had a greengrocer, we had an A to Z that just sold everything. There was like one petrol station. There was a small supermarket. There was a fish and chip shop. It was
like EastEnders.
Yeah. If you went to go shopping, you did it.
That's right.
It was like that road became its own ecosystem and supported each other.
Yeah, that was community.
That's how it felt.
Yeah.
And even if you were like, the market was in Enfield Town was only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
So you could only go, so you would stock up, and that's where you got all of your stuff.
Yeah.
From there. Do you remember when shops weren't open on a Sunday? Do you remember when that started?
Yeah, that was about 20 odd years ago when they started opening.
And it was a weird thing.
It was so weird.
Sundays, nothing happened.
It was so peaceful. And now on a Sunday, if you drive anywhere, it's like any other day of the week. It's the weirdest. I always say, our age group, we've got one foot in the 70s, 80s and one foot now. And this real dichotomy of this. And I think you deal with it really well because of your job, because obviously you live a slightly different life anyway. You're always on the road. But actually, for those that do live in their hometowns where they've just seen it decimated and broken.
It's the whole death of the high street kind of thing.
It is,
Because you can buy everything online. There's no real need to leave your house if you don't want to.
Yes, true.
I still like going actual shopping.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go and buy food, I want to go and choose.
Yes, me too with food, not with clothes. But with food.
I'm not a big fan of having a home delivery.
No, well, you never get what you want anyway.
Yeah, and I don't know what you've been doing. You could be picking your nose. I don't know what you've
Definitely,
done
they're picking their nose without a shadow of a doubt.
It's just. I like the physicality of doing things.
Yeah, I do.
But a lot of that has changed now, and it's trying to bring that back. So when I do see my kids like riding their bikes in the street outside the house or playing with the neighbours, like I love it because it's lovely. It's that nostalgia of that's how we used to do it.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that's where I think theatre and comedy take us back to the old school, back to the old days.
Nostalgia is a huge thing with stand-up. It's always a good topic. Remember way back when.
But also, you mentioned earlier, and it goes full circle, this conversation about community, because one of the things that we love is to be able to find ourselves. And, you know, if you are a bit older, it's the best place to do it is in a theatre where someone is telling a joke that you can relate to. It's connection.
Yeah.
That's the thing that most of us are feeling the lack of.
I wrote it in my news show. It's the whole Me Too feeling. The good one, not the horrible one.
Yeah.
And it is that seeing yourself in a story.
Yes.
And going, I can relate to that. I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, for me, the best storytellers that make you feel something, good or bad.
Yeah.
If an actor's made you feel something, they have done their job.
Yeah, that's true. And so, on the note of the new show, because we are going to go back and forth here. We're going to go in loops. But the new show is called
Life After Near Death.
Now that takes us neatly on to, we didn't really cover why you went into comedy, but I'm going to take you back there.
Yeah.
But this might actually be a nice lead into actually the story that brings you to the next show.
Yes.
Because I've heard this story, and when you told me, I thought you were joking at first.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
Because I don't look like I'd gone through that.
No. And the way you tell it, it does. Obviously, you're a comedian, so you're just like, oh, haha, oh, you mean you actually almost died?
Yeah.
So tell the story of this.
So I'll draw the full detail of what happened.
I want literally every second.
So okay, because we'll start with the thing, and then we'll go back before it, and then finish at the end.
And can I just say, because we might be sitting here for some time,
Yeah,
I'm like Joe Rogan. If you need a wee at any point, you can go.
Oh, that's fine. So this was October 2019.
Okay.
I was in Dubai. It was it was the first time I went to Dubai to do this show. It was we were out there for 10 days doing 5 shows. On the last day, and I started to feel a bit crappy anyway, but on the last day when I was on stage, my heart just stopped pumping oxygenated blood around the body, and I went into heart failure on stage. But here's the thing, I didn't know it was heart failure. And so I flew back from Dubai to London. Very fortunately, I was sat next to 2 paramedics who
Just by coincidence.
By coincidence. And they could hear my breathing, and they were just like, this dude's not okay. And they're arguing with the air staff to get me oxygen, because they were like, oh, we're not really. They were like, he needs oxygen. He's not okay, and he needs to be laying down. So they gave me a row at the back, and I flew the whole way back on oxygen. And I think they were just happy to get me off that plane alive.
Yeah.
And at that point, I got into the car. I got picked up and got in the car, and went to. I was gonna go home, but they were like, right, we're going to A&E. So I went to A&E, and that's the quickest I've ever seen anyone admitted into anywhere. They did my bloods, they did my ECG, everything. Next thing I know, I'm in this pre-intensive care unit, and then literally the morning after put into intensive care for 2 weeks.
What is going on in your head at this point?
So here's the thing. At that time, I was a real heavy smoker.
Yeah.
So the week before this happened, I didn't feel great, and I actually went to the hospital. And this is what I've started to write about in the show, because I don't go to hospital. That's the era. I'm not going to a hospital. I'm going to be there for hours, and they're going to tell me nothing's wrong.
Yes.
Plus, weak people go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Real men don't go to the hospital.
They might be on a theatre stage doing a little dance.
They wear leotards, yeah.
But they don't go to hospital.
They go to hospital. So I was like, I'm not going. And I felt that rough that I went to hospital, which I never do.
I mean, you didn't just go to the doctors either. You went to hospital.
I went to the care unit because I was having trouble breathing. It was every time I was lying down, I just wasn't breathing properly. Mm. And I went to get checked out. They did an ECG, couldn't find anything. They're like, everything looks normal. And I'm like, I know it's not normal because I don't feel right. And this doctor, she said to me, the only thing we can see is you've got a throat infection. I was like, all right, if that's it. She was like, you need to get an appointment with your GP, get some antibiotics, you will be fine.
God.
I didn't have enough time to get an appointment before Dubai.
Time again, you see.
Yeah. And so I just thought, throat infection, basically a cold, I'll be fine. It'll go on its own. So I went to Dubai. And it just got progressively worse to the point where when I was smoking, it felt like I was inhaling glass. So I was like, right. And I stopped smoking when I was there. But in my mind, I go, once this is gone, I'll probably start smoking. I'll have a cigarette when I get home. And I actually bought a load of cigarettes because of how cheap they were.
Oh, my life.
And then the night before this all happened, I was sat in the hotel room and I was coughing, got throat infection. Obviously, I'm coughing, and all of a sudden, I was coughing, took my hand away, and literally my whole hand's just covered in blood.
Oh my life!
And I'm looking down, I'm literally just coughing up blood, and in my mind, I'm going, "You've got lung cancer." Straight away, my brain's gone, "You've got lung cancer, and you're going to die." And I just couldn't shake that thought. Because I've seen the films, that's what happens in films. You cough up blood into a handkerchief and then you're not in the sequel. That's how it works. So I had this really just dark cloud over me where I thought, I'm going to die soon. So I'm there going, this is my last gig.
Oh.
And to be on stage, and then literally my heart, it feels like you're drowning. Like I couldn't get whole sentences out. And when we got back and I'm speaking to the doctors, because at this point I'm telling them everything because I need you to know everything if there's any chance. This isn't the time for secrets or to be embarrassed about anything.
No.
And they're like, what have you taken? And while I was out in Dubai, I went and bought a load of painkillers because it was so painful. And then one of the people out there got me some antibiotics that they'd had from a throat infection. So this one night, and now this is me trying to get to sleep now because I couldn't lie down. I couldn't. Every time I lay down, I couldn't breathe. I didn't know it was the heart failure.
You were literally dying.
Yeah. So I'm trying to. I was trying to sleep on all fours. It was that bad.
Oh my God.
And I tried to prop myself up so I could go to sleep. This is quite disgusting that I'm going to tell you.
Why not?
But there's something that all guys will do is a very easy fix to get themselves to sleep.
Oh, I mean, I'm assuming it's what we all think it is.
Yeah, you'd crack one out.
Yeah.
I have no idea how self-love. Let's call it that.
Why not?
Yeah. So I've taken these antibiotics. I've taken these painkillers. It's not working. So I was like, do you know what?
Have a wank.
I'm gonna have a wank.
You should have just started there.
Right. And I did it, and my heart went into like literally, it was like my heart was going to burst out my chest. And the doctor, because I told the doctor everything that had been going on, like what I'd done, how are you feeling, because he was like, any strenuous activity. I was like, well, yeah, actually.
Nearly died.
And I told him, and he was like, that could have killed you. And I thought,
imagine if you'd have died because of a wank.
If I'd have died, no, the dying's fine. Imagine being found. And I thought, I'm not famous enough to die that way. Like a bottle of pills with some antibiotics lying there covered in your own filth. That is not the way. I was like, but that thought actually made me laugh because I was like, that's not the way I wanted to be found at all. That trousers around your ankle. I didn't even take them off. I was that lazy. And
you weren't lazy. You were actually dying.
Yeah.
Let's just remember that bit.
But being in that hospital, because I'm still thinking it's lung cancer. So I don't really want to talk to. I'm thinking all these questions are pointless because I'm not going to be here for much longer. And the thing that was really hard to deal with was my dad wasn't there when I was a kid. My dad was never there. I've got no relationship with my dad. I couldn't even tell you now when he died. I've got no clue.
Wow.
And I always said I'd never leave my kids. And now I'm sat there thinking I might actually leave my kids.
God.
And it is because something I did. I chose to smoke.
Yes.
These are all things that I've done.
Yeah.
And I've never felt so low because I was like, this is your fault.
Yeah.
No one else has done this. You did this. And now your kids, they're going to grow up without you.
What a horrifying, awful chain of thoughts.
And so I wouldn't go to sleep because they were saying to me, like, you could just go. We don't know what's wrong. But the funny thing is when they came back in and they're like, it's heart failure. I was like, yes! Oh, thank goodness. And they looked at me like I was a psychopath. I was like, there's no cancer. There's like, no, it's not cancer. And they were like, what are you talking about? Why would it be cancer? And I told them, they're like, okay, we get it. But hearing it was actually heart failure was more of a blessing because I was like, that we can try and fix that. Like, there's still a little bit of hope there.
Yeah.
But also, it was like vindication that it wasn't my fault.
Yes, so you could let yourself off the hook a bit.
A little
if
bit,
you
yeah.
did die.
But then you start, the thing that I think triggered it anyway was lifestyle. It was because I was working every day of the week because I was still working full time. I was starting to do comedy full time and I was still a bouncer. So I
Bloody
was
hell.
burning the candle at both ends doesn't even describe how much I was working.
No.
Because I had to because I was the sole financial provider.
Yeah.
Just because childcare is so expensive.
It is.
That was the only way that it could be managed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But lying there thinking, I'm going to leave my kids, and it is because something I did was the worst.
Do you know what's interesting about that? And I don't know if this, what you would think to this, because it's not necessarily anywhere near what your situation, but the amount of times I hear stories where people's dads haven't been around and they're like, I don't want to leave my kids, but they're doing something which is self-harm really, be it that they're working too hard or they're drinking too much or they're smoking too much. And there's a point in time where they get really ill where they have to face the thought of being their own father.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many times that happens. And that's that very Freudian repetition compulsion thing where we repeat to try and fix something. But sometimes it's too late.
Yes.
So what would you say to that? Because obviously you were working really hard. You were also smoking very heavily, weren't you? I mean, we're talking, what, 40 a day?
30 to 40 a day.
30 or 40 a day. So significant.
Yeah.
So your lifestyle was not good.
Yeah.
And yet you were not thinking about that until you faced death.
Yeah, because it was normal.
Yeah, because so that,
I smoked since I was 15. That was normal.
But also you would have known, because you're not that, we're of a similar age.
Yeah.
You would have known that there was risks involved.
Yeah.
But choosing to ignore that. So what do you think
So
to
I'll
that
tell you
idea?
why I ignored it. Because I was fit.
Right, yeah. That we all think that, don't we?
So
Yeah.
I was always training. I played rugby. And because I was match fit and I was able to do all of these things, I was like, do you know what? Smoking has never really affected me.
Yeah.
Because I was still able to, but that's because I'd smoked since I was 15.
Yeah.
So your body just becomes accustomed to feeling like that.
Yeah.
And then you think rugby culture, we'd drink to excess.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Like
ridiculous.
But this was all the time drinking.
But you just took it for granted.
Yeah.
So there was never a thought that crossed your mind that this is not good.
And also, so when I'd be in the office Monday through to Friday, and then maybe on a Thursday, I'd go up to Manchester for the weekend and do these shows. And you come off stage in such a great mood that you don't want it to stop.
Yes, you adrenaline.
Yeah. So when someone goes, fancy a drink? Yes, I fancy a drink.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're 15 pints down in the bar, and then you're like, oh, where should we go afterwards? And you go out because I don't have to get up in the morning, and the only thing I've got to do tomorrow is another show, so I could sleep it off if I need to.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean. It was very much this lifestyle.
Yeah.
That was killing me.
Yes.
Literally killing me.
It's scary, really, because I know a lot of men that are in that boat and they work really hard, play really hard, and you just think you've got to be self-aware of what's happening here. It really is dangerous, but again, it doesn't cross their minds.
Not until. So the point of this new show, I think everyone should have a near-death experience.
Yeah.
It changes you.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
So even sort of being in that hostel bed, and so this is actually, this was kind of the mind flip. I grew up in a church. My mother's very religious. I'm very not. I don't think I'm allowed in churches anymore.
It's been decided.
Yeah.
You're not welcome
anymore. we are not there. And when we were kids, and this is the whole thing when it comes to religion, when we were kids, we had our pastor at the time, anything he said sounded right. I'd listen to him for hours.
Oh.
And we were all sort of very religious. We were all Christians. And then he left to go to a bigger church. And that didn't make sense to me because I was like, this was meant to be, I thought this was a calling. You're not here by your choice. You're here because the big man wants you to be here.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you would get upgraded Like, why would you? And all these abandonment issues started to kick in again.
yeah.
Why are you leaving me?
Yeah.
Because you're the representative of, you've told me it doesn't matter that my dad's not here because we've got the Father that sees everything.
Yeah.
And now you're leaving me
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, I can see that.
So there was another pastor that came in to replace him. And I think back now, it could have been anyone. I wouldn't have liked him.
No.
Because he was now step pastor, if you like.
Yeah.
So anything he said, I just don't want to listen to. But that made me have a lot more questions about religion. Because I'm like, why are there so many different types of Christian?
Yes.
I was like, that just didn't make sense to me.
Mm.
And then I remember him saying, and this is the loophole, the religious loophole. I remember him saying, as long as you repent, you go to heaven. So as long as you repent before you die, you go to heaven. Now think of me at 14, 15 going, well, that sounds awesome. So basically what you're telling me is I can do whatever the fuck I like. But as long as I repent before I die, I go to heaven. I was like, that sounds pretty sweet. That's a good deal. Because in my mind, 14, you're invincible.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are the chances of me dying suddenly where I can't repent? Right? How is that really going to happen? I'm probably going to live forever, if we're being honest. And it was when I was lying in that hospital bed that I had that thought. And I thought to myself, I'm not sorry.
Oh.
I was like, and it was really weird because I was like, I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
I regret nothing. Because in my mind, everything, I like me now.
Oh, me too.
And everything I did has made me now.
Mm.
There's not, and people I think people use the term regret like too willy-nilly.
Yeah,
like.
they do.
Because it's not to say, when I say I have no regrets, it's not to say that I'm not sorry for things I've done.
Yes.
Or I think everything I've done has been great.
Yeah.
I just don't regret them because they've paved this now.
It's how it's supposed to be.
And because of the things that have happened, good and bad, I've now got my children.
Oh.
So I can't regret them because all of that has shaped this, which gave me that.
It's so true. It's the sliding doors thing.
Yes. So it was just lying there thinking, I'm not sorry. And the other thought was, there are so many religions. One of you's right.
Which one?
Yeah. Even if it's the person that says there's nothing.
Yeah.
One of you's right. And the funny thing is, you don't get to find out till it's too late.
Yeah.
Which I think is hilarious.
It's the biggest joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, do you know, and I really started to think in that moment of thinking, I might actually just die now. So going to sleep was weird now because your brain's an asshole.
Oh, yeah.
Your brain's horrible.
Yeah.
There's a comic that does this bit where he says, your brain has got everything in it needs for you to be happy all the time. But it doesn't. It makes you work for it.
Yes.
And because I'm thinking now, for 3 days I didn't sleep because I thought if I fall asleep, I'm not waking up.
Which was probably killing you.
Yeah.
Not sleeping.
Yeah, because now your mind starts playing tricks because you're so tired you don't know what is awake anymore.
Yeah.
So then when I finally started getting to go to sleep, sometimes going to sleep was really, really difficult because I'd go, what if you don't wake up? And I'd have to get over that to go to sleep. And then it was lying there thinking, I remember there was times I was going, this can't be my last thought. Imagine if this is my last thought. And then your brain would go, porn. You're like, no, that can't be my last thought. Now I need to think of something else. And you start to realise all the things that actually matter. Yeah. Like, I'm so much more chilled now. I don't argue. I think arguing is pointless.
It is pointless.
If we're going to disagree, that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't have to agree with you.
I agree.
And I tried to explain to someone, and I'm there's times I'm not great with words because when I was explaining to someone, I was like, look, I don't actually give a fuck what you think because I like what I think. So if you think differently, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll listen to you. And if you say something that makes me go, do you know what? That's a good point. That now becomes what I think. So I'm back in the same place.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
So things don't stress me out anymore because I'm like, it's just stuff.
Yes.
All of this is just stuff.
It's construct.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's so many things that really just don't matter.
Yeah.
And I started focusing on the things that do matter. And that's when I came out of hospital and I was still working full time. And it got to the point where I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And not even a bad way, but I had some issues with my old employer, and they had issues with me. And I realised then that I'm now not doing the job that they're paying me to do. So me and my boss, we sat down. I was like, look, I need to leave before you and I start to resent each other, because that's what's going to happen. I think it's best that we put a line on it. And he agreed. And so we're still good friends now.
Oh, that's lovely.
But it was, so I quit my job mid-pandemic. I was like, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
And it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So then I was like, full-time comedy, but then I'll just attack it the same way I would if I was working with someone else.
Yes.
Because now the safety blanket was gone and it has to work. People go, because you had no other choice.
It's true.
I had another choice, fail.
Yeah.
I'm choosing to ignore that choice.
Yeah.
This now has to work. So I have to make it work. And it just skyrocketed after that. But I think it's because all of my energy was now in it, because now I knew what mattered to me.
Because when you come from the resonance of love, because obviously you love doing it, just changes everything.
Yeah. And I stopped chasing the money.
You have to go for the love and the money comes, not the other way around.
It's if you're trying to be rich, I don't think it's going to happen that way. Like,
no.
You have to love it.
Yeah, you do.
Because that shows on stage.
Yeah.
And then those people want to be around you. They want to get you back. Because I think it's a privilege doing what I do.
It is. And to be honest, your energy is like that. I think when I met you for the first time on your show, it was like I'd known you forever.
Yeah.
You do give that energy off. And that's just obviously who you are. And that's obviously the energy that people get from you on stage as well. And I know that because obviously I'd seen the clips of you before I'd met you. And there's no difference. You are exactly what you seem to be. There's no...
I probably toned it down more on stage because some of the stories are really fucked up. And there's a funny thing about stand-up as well, that I was right. It's not going to go on a show, but sometimes I feel the need to write to let it out.
Yeah, like journaling, I suppose.
Yeah, because my life is a lie.
Hang on a minute. This is a bit of a moment.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is what I realised. Even though I don't make up the premise of any story that I've told on stage, I'm not telling it exactly how it happened, because you're putting artistry around it.
Yeah.
There's I got a joke where I kick a kid. And
don't we all?
I did kick the kid.
Right.
But the story is different, because if I tell the actual story, there's no way that his parents are not going to figure out that it was their child I kicked.
Oh my God.
So the premise is true.
Yeah.
But the story is art.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You tell a lie 1,000 times, it becomes
the truth. Yes, it does. That is a sign of being a psychopath, by the way.
Yeah. So what I have to do, so that I've got people in my life that I'm so brutally honest with, because I have to have a truthful outlet.
Yes.
And I think it's really important to, good or bad, you have to have there's a comic I was with in Dubai recently, and I was saying to him, when it comes to stand-up, because he's the same, he's very, what's the word I'm looking for? What is the word? Oh my God, I've forgotten words.
Uh-oh.
It's the type of comedian I am as well. Observational.
I thought you were just going to say funny.
He's an observational comic. But obviously you put artistry around what you're saying. And I was like, make sure that you have someone in your life that you can be 100% honest with.
Yes.
Because if we keep telling these stories, that will become the true version of that story.
Yeah.
So one thing I always do when people ask me, is that actually true? I tell them the real story.
I love that.
Because I need, like, so there's one when I talk about, I say I knocked my son out, which I didn't. I did kick him, though.
Fair enough.
He made me jump when I was asleep, and I literally kicked my leg out and he flew out the bottom of the bed. And that became part of the joke.
Yeah.
So when people do ask it, I will always tell them what actually happened. Because
Yeah.
some stories, I tell word perfect to what actually happened.
Yeah, but you can't do that with everything.
No.
You've got to hide people's identities as well, haven't
Yes.
you?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
So
for them.
It's, for them, because it's not always, the only things that I don't talk about is things that aren't my story to tell.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. I mean, I suppose if you're observing from afar, you can, because it's people you don't know. But if they know you, people can work it out, can't they?
If it's something that it is someone else's story, I was just there.
Yeah.
I don't talk about it because it's not mine.
Yeah. So go back to the moment that you realise, because you've done this sales stuff, you worked in IT, you worked on the doors, you've been on, you've been a dance teacher, you've been on the stage.
Yeah.
You've even done drag.
Yeah.
I mean, you've literally ticked quite a few boxes already.
Oh, loads. I was a hairdresser as well. I used to cut men's hair.
Like, why have you done so many jobs?
Because I was, for one, trying to figure out who I
you
was,
are, yeah.
and two, because I'd always done dance. In between those dance contracts, you have to earn money.
So you just did a bit of
You
hair.
do anything that will come your way, you will do.
So you're the master of quite a few things.
Jack of few.
Yeah, I was going to say, which
Master
one?
of none of them.
Apart from comedy.
So comedy, I realised comedy has always been, it's not the thing that I do. Comedy has always been who I am. So
Yeah.
even with sales, that's how I did well, because I got on with people.
Yeah.
I made them laugh.
Yeah.
And that's really what got my... It's like I speak to people on the phone, and for 10 minutes, you took them out of the office mentally.
Of course.
They appreciate that.
Yeah. It is lovely.
It's really like it's a nice. So we were dealing with IT managers. IT managers are going to get 100 calls a day from a salesperson that wants to take something from them.
Yeah.
So when I used to coach other salespeople, I'd say to them, be the person that's different.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to remember you.
Yeah.
Everyone else is trying to take something from them. Phone them up and give them something.
I love that.
It's going to be a much easier way to, because either way, they're either going to take it and do nothing with it.
Yeah.
Even still, your conscience is clear.
Yes.
Or you've just found someone who wants to be. I've got clients. I say clients. They're more friends now.
Yeah, I bet.
Of people that I've worked with years ago that I've stayed in contact with.
I bet everyone wants to be your friend.
I'd rather they didn't.
I know. I can see your little black book is full to the brim and overflowing.
No, it's I do. I like good people.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I like having that energy spread. I think. What was that? What was this thing that was said? Everyone has the power to change the energy in the room just by being there.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's up to you what you're going to do with it.
Yeah, that's so true.
Like when my niece lived with me and she'd come in a really bad mood, I'd be like, it's okay that you're in a bad mood, but you have to be mindful that your bad mood spreads.
Yeah, it does. Like a virus.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to ingest it.
If I'm in a bad mood, I have to take myself out of that situation.
Which is where you go on stage.
Either go on stage or go for a walk or go to
Yeah.
the gym. I just have to, if I'm at home and something's wrong, I have to get out because it's not their fault.
No,
at
it's
home.
not. It's not. And it's also very difficult once that energy is in the room to diffuse it.
Yeah.
For everybody involved.
So I'm a lot more patient with my kids when I'm in a bad mood because I know that I'm not actually angry at them.
Yes, so you can actually hold that space a bit better.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I'm, and most therapists wouldn't admit this, I guess, maybe they would. I do my best work when I'm not in a great space.
Yeah.
Because it makes me want to, I suppose, exit myself more and hyper focus on somebody else.
Yep. I know that if I shout at my kids, I will feel horrible because I know I'm not actually angry at you.
Yeah, it's projection.
There's something else here. So there's times that if I'm in a bad mood and they're being little fuckers, I will have to take a deep breath, and just take out. And I'll say to her, you need to.
Yeah.
I need to take. And it's the same vice versa. If she's in the mood, okay, let me be aware of that. I'll deal with them. Go and have a cup of tea. I'll deal with them.
Yeah. It's so important that self-awareness is key.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't do that. They can't zoom out and they can't get out of their own head. Yeah. It's a skill to do that. But the energy is a really important one because everything's potential.
Yeah.
Everything's potential. It could be the best day of your life or the worst. And I know sometimes you almost want to have a bad day.
Yeah.
Not necessarily you, but all of us. We need to get it out of the system.
Oh, you do. I played rugby for the first time in like 4 years last weekend. And it's because I was like, I had so much pent up energy in me.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to get this out safely.
Yes.
Because what I want to do is go and punch someone in the face.
Yeah.
Because that's how we dealt with stuff as kids.
Yeah, it was.
You didn't like it, you punched it in the face.
Yeah.
That was, and that solved all of your issues.
Yeah.
But I was like, I need to get this out, and it felt so, because someone said, why don't you go on the boxing bag? Because but the bag isn't going to hit me back.
Yeah, you want that now that's self-harm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So like me getting into a fight is because I want to be punched in the face. It's like you want to feel something.
It is, but actually, again, it comes to connection. I know it's a weird one because, again, everything's potential. Yeah. You're going to choose connection that is soothing and safe and loving, or you're going to choose connection which is the exact opposite. Now, whether that's a connection to yourself, so you're hurting yourself, or you're going out looking for fights, or you're being a doorman.
So do you know what it was about getting hit back? It was the feeling of knowing that I can get up and keep going.
And I think men have that generally more than women, that they need to prove that.
Playing rugby was perfect because you're going to get tackled, you're going to get hit in the scrum. Yeah. But it's not malicious, it's within the confine of the game.
You're choosing it, really.
Yeah, but it's that knowing that I can keep going.
Yeah, it's resilience.
I've been knocked, get up, keep going.
Which is what you would have naturally as a primitive. You would have those knocks in life and it'd be do or die. Yeah. So it's tapping into that part of masculinity, I guess.
Because the world's it's weird, but it's very safe now. Like this is the easiest time in history ever. Yeah. Like you think the real threat has gone.
Well, it's an existential threat now, and it's all in our heads because of the stories we hear. But day to day, we haven't got the saber-toothed, tiger outside the cave.
There literally was wolves at the door.
Yeah.
We don't have that anymore.
No.
Like you don't have to deal with all of that. It's the easiest time of life.
In terms of survival.
Yeah.
But in terms of psychology, we're fucked.
Well, it's because it's so complex now.
Yeah. Everything's so ridiculously over there. Yeah. We're always looking over there for something that doesn't really exist because it's just a story that we've seen or heard.
I will always try and keep things as simple as I possibly can.
And simplicity and flexibility are the two most important things that we've got. Yeah. Because first of all, simplicity keeps us here now. Yeah. And flexibility means we can adapt very easily if it's not a choice. Yeah. Those two, if you can keep that in mind, you'll be a very healthy person.
And I think keeping it simple. So speaking to somebody about weight loss. Yeah. And she was asking me, like, what's the best way? And I was sat there because there's people with all their different theories and keto and all of this. There were so many different theories. I was like, look, eat less, move more. It's that simple.
Yeah, it really is.
That's literally, there's no magic pill. There are, but they're dumb. Eat less, move more. I was like, the thing you want to be asking yourself is, do you want to lose weight or do you want to change shape? Because they're two very different things.
They are very different, yeah.
And it's understanding the difference between the two. Yeah. And then just from conversation, I was like, okay, you want to lose weight. In that case, eat less and move more.
Let me ask you this question on that, because this is a very important subject for a lot of people, weight. And it's something I work with often in my practice. So with the psychotherapy side of things, I tend to go into more of the neurobiology, and then the hypnotherapy and trauma stuff is much more brain-based. So how can we play tricks on the brain? Yeah. Essentially.
The big part for me was figure out what kind of eater I am.
Really important, but also what is your dopamine doing? Yeah. Because dopamine affects leptin and ghrelin, which are your hunger hormones. Yeah. So if your dopamine's not right, leptin and ghrelin can be out of sync as well.
Yeah.
So either you feel more hungry than you should,
Yeah.
or you don't actually feel hungry at all and you don't eat. So if you think about people that get really, really anxious but never ever eat when they're anxious, the weight drops off them when they're stressed. Conversely, some people will eat and eat and eat when they're stressed. So it's how your dopamine and how your neurotransmitters function as well. So just knowing those things and what type of eater you are essential in how you cut calories.
Yes, massively.
Yeah.
I like volume.
Ooh,
I like a massive plate of food.
So you'll have veg and salad and all the good stuff.
Yeah, so I just pack it full of. My thing is, so my calorie deficit is 2,400 a day, which is a lot of food.
It is, yeah.
But when I cook it lean, I struggle to get that much.
Yes.
Because it's like, so 400 grams of chicken with a massive salad is a huge, huge plate.
Yeah.
I'll show you a picture of this meal that I made. And it's like 600 calories and it's on a serving dish.
Wow.
So then now I'm actually not hungry because I'm still full.
Yes.
So I'm having to eat at certain times. So it's because I like food.
Yeah.
And I like cooking.
Yeah.
So I buy things in their portions. And it's understanding that when I'm not actually hungry, I fancy a cup of tea. But you're right, when I am in a good mood, it's easier.
Of course, because you've got more dopamine naturally. And that is where I think people fail because they look for the keto or they look for the tablet.
We
or they
want
look
a quick fix.
Yeah.
So people want abs tomorrow. They want to do the session today and then wake up with a six-pack.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work like that. Your body will adapt to the lifestyle you give it.
Yes.
And it takes time for that lifestyle to change. So I think people struggle with patience.
They do.
And I also think people struggle with honesty.
Yes, they do. With themselves more than anybody else.
With themselves is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because no one's got time to go to the gym.
No, you're right. You have to make it.
You have to make it. And for some people, it is harder than others. So there's a guy that our sons play rugby together. And I saw him last week and he's half the man he used to be. Like he's lost so much weight, but he's had to do it purely, and it's been really difficult because he's had to do it with just food.
Yeah.
Which is, doing it with weights and food is easy because I know I've been active. So I know that I can go and eat certain things if I want to.
And for those that don't know, you are a big gym body. Like you like your gym, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but seeing him do it with just food, because he's got such a physical job. And he works he's a plumber.
Right.
So he can't go to the gym and then go and do
no, because he needs
9 hours.
Of course.
Where he's working because it's too physical.
Yeah.
So for him, and I was talking to him about it, I was like, what if I was you, I'd forget the gym because it doesn't suit your lifestyle.
Yeah.
But if you want to exercise, I would do half an hour, 4 days a week. Because you can get home and do that half an hour.
Yeah, you just need to, he would just need to do squats, press ups, maybe dumbbells.
So there's this thing, and I tried it, and it sounds so easy. Well, it sounded easy when you haven't done it.
Yeah.
Now it's horrible, and it's literally, I think it's half an hour, and you do maybe 5 exercises.
Right.
So in 5 minutes, you do as many push-ups as you can do.
Yes.
Because now you're competing with you.
Yeah.
And 5 minutes of push-ups. It's horrible.
I can't even do a proper push-up.
I couldn't finish the 5 minutes.
I can't do a push-up. I have to do the lady one. I've never been able to complete a push-up. I'm so weak. It's actually ridiculous.
So you do push-ups. I'll do squat jumps. You'll do leg raises. It's all body weight stuff.
Yeah.
Or things, literally, you can have a chair and just do front raises.
Yeah.
But you just do those exercises for 5 minutes, as many reps as you can do, and you're battered.
Yeah.
But your body's moving and there's stretching as well. Like, people underestimate stretching.
They do. And it's because everyone's lazy.
It's so good for you.
Yeah.
But so I recommended he do this. I was like, forget the gym. It's not everyone can go and do something, but it doesn't have to be the gym.
Yeah, you're right.
Find something that you can do that you can enjoy.
Yeah.
And your body will adapt to it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I know so many excuses as to why I'm not going to the gym.
Yeah.
There's loads.
Yeah.
There's only one reason to go.
Yeah.
There's loads of reasons to not go.
Yeah.
And we were, I talked about it on another podcast. I don't like Paralympians.
I mean, that's controversial.
I'll tell you why. They are far too inspirational.
Yeah, I know. They make us all just go,
Yeah.
oh God, I'm so
I look
embarrassed.
at them and I go, I've got no choice.
Yeah.
Like, what excuse have I possibly got?
Yeah, it's a very good point.
When you see somebody who's gone through, especially when it's something that's happened to them.
Yeah, they've been blown up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're still smiling.
I know.
You've lost your leg.
Yeah.
And you're still going to go for a run.
Yeah.
I had a cold and I was like, I'm not going to the gym. And I look at them and I'm like, you're so...
But you've come back as well, let's face it. Like, you were literally on death's door. They had to save your life. So you kind of have had that physical trauma.
But this is another thing that I think where I go, someone said to me once, and it sometimes, depends on the situation, it can be a very tough pill to swallow, but you are always living someone else's dream.
That is unbelievably apt and true. That's so
Always.
good. So good. So
Whatever
good.
it is, as bad as it might be,
Yeah.
you are always living someone else's dream. And sometimes it is a tough pill to swallow because you might be in a bad place.
That reminds me, didn't you have a stroke as well?
Yeah.
Just talk about living the dream.
Yeah. About a week after I came out of hospital, because they said to me, don't do anything.
Uh-oh.
So I sat still. And a bit of oxygen hit a clot, hit me in the brain, and I had a mini stroke. Yeah, I've nearly died a lot.
That's what I mean. Like, it's not like, I mean, yes, you haven't been blown up and lost a limb, but you have had heart disease and a stroke.
Yeah, and then the stroke, it felt like learning to speak again, which was really weird.
After,
yeah.
Oh my God.
But you then become appreciative of how important words are.
Does that go after a while?
No.
You stay in that space of, I'm grateful to be able to use my voice.
Yeah. Like, it is such a privilege. And every now and again I'll get a reminder where I can't get a word out.
Really? Oh, it's happened a couple of times today, sorry,
Yeah.
where you've not.
And I go, what is that word?
Yeah.
And then sometimes, so the times when I'm writing, and I don't know if I did this before, but I've noticed it since, I will use the correct word phonetically, but I'll use the wrong spelling.
Interesting.
So I'll be writing something and I'll say, and then she won this, but I will put O-N-E rather than W-O-N.
And that didn't happen before?
No. And then I'm like, then I'll go back and correct it. Or I'll go, which is the right to use rightly? It'll be like that.
So it has affected your brain a bit?
Yeah. But you're just aware of it now.
Yeah. And you're only 43?
No one knows. It's so strange.
43. It's 43. Well, that might be a lie. That might be.
We don't know.
You're like that girl. Have you watched it, Apple Cider Vinegar?
Yeah.
On Netflix. And at the end, they're like, so how old are you? And she's like, well, one of my birth certificates says I'm 26.
Well, I'm Nigerian, so that's actually true.
So you could be any age.
I could be any age.
I'm going to go with 26.
Yeah, why not? That works.
Yeah. Now, I want to just go full circle to childhood again before we close up.
Yeah.
Because we mentioned your dad briefly.
Yeah.
We know you're one of 6. We know that your eldest sister is 17 years older.
16 years, yeah.
So huge age gaps, and also not the presence of a father figure, which I think is incredibly important.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you had stepdads or whatever. I don't know that part. So it was...
Literally, my mum and my sisters, which again, as an adult, I realised how fortunate I really was.
Yeah.
Because I look back and I never went without anything that I needed. Loads of stuff I wanted that I never got.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've ever missed a meal. We had a roof.
What did your mum do to be able to do that?
Care nurse.
Oh my gosh. So she spent her whole life caring for everybody else.
But we all, at that time, it got to the point where everyone worked.
Yeah.
Because as we got older as well.
You had to.
But we all had different chores. So when I remember the day that I stopped being a baby, and I hated it.
Oh.
Because up until this point, we'd eat, and then I would just go and snuggle next to my mum, And I remember my sister saying, "Why doesn't Bubba have to come and help?" And she'd be like, "Leave him alone. He's just a baby."
Oh.
And I'm old enough to have that memory, so I was old enough to help.
Yeah.
And they'd have to clean up everything. And then all of a sudden, I got given chores, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And so my chores, I had to do I had to look after the living room.
I mean, that's a big one for a small person.
Yeah. And do you remember Shake and Vac?
Of course.
So we had a broken Hoover, and we didn't have the money to fix it for a while. So I had to use Shake and Vac. Have you ever tried to hand sweep a carpet?
I have not.
That's covered in Shake and Vac. That was my first workout, I think.
Wow, that is pretty cool.
Yeah, but we all had our chores. So even trying to explain to my kids, it wasn't the norm to have a washing machine in your house.
No, it wasn't. You're right.
So every Saturday morning, me and my sisters would load up all the laundry bags and we'd walk to the laundrette. And I had to do the uniforms. I was responsible for looking after the shirts. So everyone's shirts, I had to go wash them, wait for them to dry, iron them, all of them, then put them back in the cupboard. Everyone had their chores of what they had to do.
And this is where your work ethic comes from, really,
Probably.
isn't it? Because you've always worked.
Yeah.
Like you've had to sweep, shake and vac.
Yes.
I mean, when you've done that as your first chore,
it was horrid.
Yeah, but it goes to show that if you take care of things and do things the right way, it can work.
I also stopped, I can't remember how old I would have been when I stopped trying to do this. I stopped trying to make fast money.
Yeah.
And patience kicked in.
What was that?
It was probably around working in IT.
Yeah.
Where I started again to simplify things.
Yeah.
So, for example, I had and this is how I used to teach the new people that came into work. I was like, if your target is £100,000 a year, what's the easiest way to achieve that target in deals? Very simple. One deal worth 100 grand.
Yeah.
That's it. And then you go, what's the next step? 2 deals worth 50 grand.
Yeah.
4 deals worth 25 grand. Do you know what I mean? 10 deals worth 10 grand each.
Yes, it's easy.
So I then decided I would look for one 100 grand deal. I'd look for one 50 grand deal. I'd look for 2 25 grand deals. And I'd look for 5 10 grand deals. If I was able to close half of those, I'm probably going to hit my target.
Wow.
So rather than trying to speak to everyone every day to try and close things every day, I now became patient. I was like, I'm going to build relationships throughout this whole year. So when this does come, it's going to be easy. And stop being stressed.
That's so important. Again, everything you do and have done is really about relationships and connection with other people.
I think everything is about relationships.
It is, yeah. And again, it's that love energy. It goes back to that same thing. Even if you're not always perfect at being loving, if that's your intention to build those relationships and use love as the greatest tool, I don't know how you can go wrong and have the work ethic.
Yes, and that's the thing. It's about, I think it's very much also about being there for other people.
Yeah.
So
being of service.
Ben Kingsley, he's got this thing. I saw it the other day and he's talking about actors. He goes, a good actor makes their co-actor look good.
Yes, elevate others.
Yeah.
It's
Make
that simple.
them look good and you've done your job. You've done your job.
It's so simple.
If you go in there trying to be the best actor, then you're on your own.
Yeah. And no one, I mean, I've met those people where it's all about them and you don't like them.
No.
They're not the same energy.
No.
Very different energy.
I think the same thing with comedy. Make it about the audience.
Yes.
Go there for them and it becomes more fun for all of you.
Which I wonder if that does go back to your dad because you're trying to be the person that he wasn't, maybe.
I'm always trying to be the person that he wasn't. Like you want to, and I think it's because I know what it feels like to not have someone there.
Yeah, of course it is. That must be what drives a lot of this.
Because I don't want that for my kids. They need to know that there is someone there always.
Yeah, they do.
Whether it's me or not, you need to know that you're not alone.
So, what was that like being a kid? I mean, maybe there was other kids that were going through something similar.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't kids going through something similar.
You were the only one.
Yeah. And my only normal memory of my dad is walking to the bank with him, which was about 300 yards from my house. We walked to the bank. He got some money out. We walked home. That's it. That's the only memory. And it took a lot to deal with, because we'd go to the park and I'd see people playing with their dads, anything. And you go, I want that.
Yeah.
So then you gravitate to father figures really quickly.
Yes.
Sometimes to your detriment as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Because you crave that father figure. And you do sort of anything to have it.
Yeah.
So it was it's very weird. My sister's, my eldest sister, her boyfriend from when we were kids, I would have been like 7 or 8, taught me to ride my bike. And his mother passed recently. We were just at the funeral. And granted, it's been 35 years, whatever it was. It's been 30 odd years. He was at the funeral, and I was really excited to see him. And he didn't remember me. And it was a very, very weird feeling, because I was in my mind, I'm like, you taught me to ride my bike. That was a big deal to me. You've never known that. Like I've grown up. I've got so many pictures of him from when we were kids.
Aww.
But I wasn't sad about it. It was just like, okay, that was an expectation that I had, that I'm now okay to deal with.
But you almost painted that picture in your head. You created the story that you needed it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, so that was it was weird, but I think if I hadn't gone through a lot of the stuff I have, I would have reacted differently to him.
Yeah, because you've learnt to just sit back and be patient.
Yeah.
And not just be patient, but accept things as they are and be with that and sit with it.
I think it's, when you spoke about simplicity, you spoke about flexibility. Another thing is acceptance.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest, if not the biggest.
Once
actually,
you accept something, it becomes easier to deal with.
So now, how does that affect you? Because I obviously met you with Kieran, who you've got a lovely relationship with, on your podcast co-host, and I saw the relationship between you two, and when we spoke afterwards, you were like, you just hit it off straight away, didn't you? Both of you. Is that kind of how you are with a lot of men still?
No, God, no. Not with everyone at all. It would be with someone, not even necessarily like-minded people. It goes down to energy. So some people you have that with them, some people you don't. It's not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Just we hit it off, and it was fine. And like with Kieran, he's got such a good heart.
He's lovely.
And he wants more, and he's a workhorse.
Oh yeah, he is. He is. So for you now, with that lack of father figure, and with that mainly being around women, what's your kind of most comfortable place still off stage?
Probably just sat in my chair at home.
Yeah, you like to be on your own a bit, don't you?
I actually don't like to be on my own.
Interesting.
And I that took work to get used to that.
Because you've been surrounded by people for such a long time.
And also, it's little things where you go, I don't want to be alone with my thoughts.
Now, that's an interesting thing.
I don't want to start overthinking. I want the distraction.
Yeah.
It is. So even, so now when I gig, a lot of the time I'll drive home, and it's the best for decompression.
Yes.
And I've got much better at having no music on, and literally just letting your body just relax into the monotony of driving. Yeah. So that part helps.
It's silence sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
And learning to sit with it, because that is a practice.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, what happens?
I just don't switch off.
And then you can't. Well, you've got to look after everything now, haven't you? You have to switch off.
Yeah.
One more thing then before you go, because I think this is really important. You are somebody that can do a lot, and you have done a lot. What is stand-up just the only thing now, or are you looking to branch out a bit more?
I'm going to branch out. Stand-up's my true passion. I love stand-up. And but there's writing jobs that we're doing now. There's TV shows that we're writing, that we're part of. But stand-up will be
the thing.
Yeah.
And for people that want to know you better,
Yeah.
which everybody will, of course, where do they find you?
So Emmanuel Stand Up is the handle for pretty much everything. So Instagram is Emmanuel Stand Up. The website is emmanuelstandup.com. I think all of my stuff is Emmanuel Stand Up, actually.
Because your surname, how do you pronounce your surname?
Sonubi.
So you just decided to leave that out in case people...
Yeah, because people... I think, again, simplicity.
Yeah.
When it comes to marketing, I want something that you hear once and you remember.
Yeah.
So Emmanuel Stand Up says
Rememberable.
exactly what you need it to be.
Well, it's a great name as well, Emmanuel. You don't meet many.
Good. I hated it when I was a kid. There was me and my dad. We were the only Emmanuels, and then I've got older, and there's times where I've heard someone go Emmanuel, and I look around and they're not talking to me.
Yeah.
And because it was something that was mine for
Yeah.
long. Even though, all right, it's in the Bible, whatever. But it felt like it was mine for so long that as I've sort of gone more worldly and I'm out in the world, and I know that other people are called that, I'm like, it's my name.
The same thing happened with Ella. There was me and Ella Fitzgerald, and that was it. And then there was about 20 years ago, and everyone got the name.
Yeah.
And I was like, how dare you? Do you know, I missed out on so many things. Mugs with my name on, bags with my name. I had nothing. And now it's there for you, and you're taking it, and it's not yours.
Do you reckon like there's another Sigourney somewhere? There's just me and Sigourney Weaver. That's it.
Yeah, nobody else is allowed. Actually, it must be something to do with the letter E. And what star sign are you?
Capricorn.
You're a Capricorn. I'd never have thought that.
I have no idea what any of it means. I just know that that's what it is. I've never once read anything into any of it. I've no idea I don't know what the traits are. So I've got no idea.
You're not the regular, put it that way.
I don't
Are
know.
you sure? Because it's the Nigerian thing.
Probably. I don't even know what I'm sure about.
I could have asked you anything, probably.
Yeah, why not?
I'm going to say a massive thank you for you being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been an absolute delight.
Has it?
Yes.
I need to know this is the truth, not just probably.
No, this is the truth part.
Even though you're really uncomfortable in that chair and squirming.
Right, so I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we did these ab rolls, core exercise. So now for the last half an hour, I've had a cramp there. And I'm in so much pain.
I was asking questions about your dad and it was getting really emotional, but I could just see you squirming.
So when you started asking about my dad, I could feel myself going.
Yeah.
And then that happened and it made me laugh inside because now I was like, we're on camera. Try not to look like you're in pain. And that's why I was having the water. I was like, maybe you're a bit dehydrated. And even now, I found the position where it's not too bad, but I live here now. This is what happens.
I saw you moving and I thought either he wants this part of the conversation to end,
no,
or he's about to piss himself.
The conversation's fine. It's cramped up right at my bottom ab. It is so painful.
So for anyone wanting a bit of tears today, fuck it, you're not getting it because he's in agony.
Oh, it's so much pain. I'm crying for a different reason. Now it's tears of pain.
I think that was a subconscious Freudian deflection. Your body went, you ain't going there, my friend. We'll give you the ab pain instead.
Well, I've got better. So the tears are less for this because I've it's like when people say I'm all cried out.
Yeah.
I've processed the emotions, so I'm okay. I'm much better about talking about it now.
Yeah. Except for today with
this. But it's like the heart failure stuff. So I've never spoken about how I actually felt with the feeling of me leaving my kids because I'd break every time.
Yeah.
I've had to write that down so many times because I wanted to talk about it on stage.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't break down every single night with it. So I have to really process the feeling.
Yeah. What we do when we process actually is just desensitize. Processing is desensitization. We're desensitizing ourselves to the trauma. Yeah. Which is a good thing.
You learn to live with it.
Yeah, you have to. It's what you were saying about acceptance.
Well, I think of it in the same way of if you get cut.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember being like first time you sort of graze your knee or cut yourself. It feels like it's never going to stop bleeding.
It does, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're never prepared for it because you can put plaster over it, you put bandage over it, and then every now and again, you'll keep checking it.
Yeah.
Don't know why. It's
Yeah.
still there.
Yeah.
But you keep checking it,
Yeah.
and it's still bleeding, just
Yeah.
like you thought it would be. And then all of a sudden, the bleeding stops. But it's still very sensitive. And then it starts to heal over. Every now and again, you'll pick at it. Don't know why. You know it's going to hurt, but you still pick at it. And then after a while, that scab gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And what you're left with is a scar that doesn't hurt anymore. But when you see it, you remember of what it was.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of analogy that I use for dealing with trauma.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. And actually, everybody has it at some point or another.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that is so easy to do, and I certainly don't think you do this, is to stay in the victim matrix and to just go, poor me. And it's really very insidious and poisonous to be there because you just become that identity. It becomes your temperament. It becomes your personality.
Sometimes for people, it's easier to play the victim because then you don't have to take any blame or responsibility.
True. And actually, those people are often... they haven't had the love and care they needed when they were a kid.
Yeah.
And so now this is a way of being seen and heard.
Yeah.
The problem is, though, is that most people don't really have time for it because we're all, again, it goes back to being so busy and not having time sometimes for our own kids, let alone somebody else's problems.
Yes.
But that is repetition compulsion because you're just telling yourself, oh, I am a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And it's so familiar and so comfortable that actually healing doesn't make sense.
And plus, if you tell yourself something enough, you will believe it.
Yeah, it goes back to that. Yeah, you can train your brain through neuroplasticity to just believe whatever you want it to.
I was once told that if you tell yourself you can or you tell yourself you can't, either way, you're probably right.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I believe that with everything. People talk about manifestation, but there's two things I'd say about that. One is you've got to train the brain first.
Yeah.
And two, the energy you emit is the magnet. It's not, I'm just going to keep telling myself I'll have it and then it will work. You literally have to train your brain to accept exactly that.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm going to use my brain, I may as well use it in that direction because that looks like a lot more fun. And it takes work, though. That's the bit. What you were saying earlier.
It really, really does.
Yeah.
Even with my kids, I try and teach them that mistakes are good.
Yeah, they are. They're needed.
You need to, but what if I get it wrong? Well, no, you know.
Yeah.
So when they've got this spelling shed that it's called, and they've got to go through, they get given 10 words, then they get the score out of 10, how many they got right. I never focus on the ones they got right.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, do you understand why you got it wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, then we'll go and do it again. Because now you know more now.
Yes.
So you can get stuff right. We know what you know.
Yeah.
Let's figure out what you don't know.
Yeah. That's really, 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 really clever.
It's much easier now because you go, right, you've made the mistake and then you made it again, but now you'll remember it for the next time. And they always do.
Well, it's like marketing, isn't it? As if something's spelt wrong, you notice it quicker.
Yeah.
So actually that stands out, which has drawn your attention in. It's really, really simple stuff. Get it wrong and people will notice. Get it right and you probably don't. And it was the same with the kids at school. The naughty kids always got more attention.
Yeah.
Because they stood out. I'm not saying it's a good thing to do. I'm just saying that
it's
in
natural.
life. Yeah. And actually, I think it's character building. If you're a bit naughty or you get things wrong, it does lean into those characters later on. Were you naughty?
Yeah.
Were you very naughty?
I'd like to think I wasn't. But I was naughty because it was funny and it made other people laugh.
Yeah.
So
is that where you felt seen then? Is that where you've always felt the safest?
That's where I felt I could hide. Because then you wouldn't ask me any other questions.
Yeah.
If you ever go at me, you're not asking me what's wrong. And that's fine.
See, that makes me cry. Because I think about all those naughty kids at school that were probably just avoiding. And in fact, when you look at their lives as an adult and you reflect back, you're like, and some of them are dead now, which is even worse. But because they'd started taking drugs or whatever. And it's very rare to meet a genuine cycle breaker.
Yes.
Someone who's really, and you are one of them.
It took, I think I'm still trying to break that cycle. I don't think that ever stops because sometimes it's easier to fall back into old habits.
Yeah, it is. Well, because it's more efficient to the system, isn't it? It's there, you know it so well. Creating a new pathway is quite a lot of work.
Yes.
But you have done that. And the fact that you're still saying that I think I've got to continue shows that you're still humble within it as well.
Oh, yeah, you have to.
So where are you performing next then? Because it was
I'm in Reading tonight.
Yeah.
But my tour goes on sale in end of the month.
And where will that be?
All over the
Everywhere.
UK. I'm going all over the UK.
What nights do you normally talk? Every night?
Normally Wednesday through Saturday.
Yeah. So
is
you have
a lot of them.
a long weekend.
I'll commute though, so I'll still go home after it because I still need to do the school run. Like, I love it. The school run again, normality.
Yes.
Because none of them care that you're a comedian.
No, they don't. No, you are right. Yeah.
We're all tired parents.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you do. We're all just tired parents.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Well, and you've lived in your area for a really long time.
Yeah. And I like the fact that my kids don't know that I'm away as much as I am, because all they know is they go to sleep and I'm there, and they wake up and I'm there.
That's really lovely.
So I'll put them to bed and then go and do a show, and I wake up in the morning. We take them to school.
Yeah,
like, they've got that part.
Even if you're in Manchester.
If I'm if I'm in Manchester for one night, I'll drive home.
Right.
Depend on what I've done the day before, because again, you have to look after yourself.
Yes, you do. I was going to say.
If I've done a lot of driving, there'll be times I'm staying here because I'm so tired. It's now not safe for me to drive home. Yeah. But again, it's very much listening to your body. But that's not all the time. But if I'm doing Manchester, Liverpool, Hexham, for example, then I will stay away because that doesn't make sense to drive up and down. And again, that's normal to have parents that stay away sometimes. Yeah. It's not like, because you've got to give them that the contrast. Yes. You can't be there every day. Yeah. It's not possible. No, but so it's being there as much as I can and being present when I am there. But they don't care about the TV and the comedy stuff. Which is so cool. There was an advert on, and I was on it. I was like, no, look, on the TV. He looked at me and went, Daddy, you're always on the TV. And they just carried on playing. You are right. Kids, they care if it's somebody else, like say it was someone on TikTok. Yeah. But if it's you, it's just like, who cares? Yeah. Noah watched me do, Noah and Chloe watched me do stand-up I took them on a cruise with me. And they saw me do my family show. And this is a room where everyone's pissing themselves laughing, apart from my kids. And because for them, they're like, I'm not doing anything different. Yeah. Like the amount of times Chloe says to me, oh, dad joke. Yeah. And then Noah, I came off stage and he went, I don't get it. You weren't even that funny. You didn't even fall over. I'm like, all right, that's what comedy is to you. That's so cute. No, they crack me up. And how old are they? 10, 7, and 1.5. Truth tellers, you see. Yeah. Absolute truth. 1.5. Oh my God, you're still in the depths of parenthood. That's why I'm here. Just get out of the house for a couple of hours. Flipping heck, 1.5 at your age. Right. You must be knackered. Just to make you feel really good at the end. I was out. Well, I've laughed a lot as I expected, and I enjoy your company. You're so brilliant. You're such a good storyteller, which is no surprise because it's what you do for a living. But the fact that you came here for free and paid to put bloody petrol in your car, don't bill me afterwards. You'll get an invoice for expenses. I am so grateful. You're very, very welcome. Thank you. Aww. I didn't make you cry. I'm absolutely pissed off and gutted. Oh, there it is. I honestly